It's an AF Corsa win in the Gentleman Trophy. The winners in the Gentleman Trophy at the 24 Hours of Spa: Alexander Talkanitsa, Peter Mann, Francisco Guedes and Cedric Mezar. The trophies, though, first of all, are presented to the third place drivers, and it's another experienced endurance team these days. Paul Mann, the general manager of Total Belgium, steps forward to give the trophies to Jean-Marc Bachelier, to Yannick Malagol, to Howard Blank, the American, and Francois Perraudot. And 3 of those were at the Red Bull Ring last week in ELMS. Here at Spa this weekend, 3rd in the Gentleman Trophy. And
haven't AF Corse really established themselves with this Ferrari that's been around for a few years now as such a force to be reckoned with when it comes to endurance racing? They had about, what, 7 or 8 cars entered here. The garage was massive and loads of help from everywhere, but they managed to get a 1 and a 3 on the podium in the Gentleman Trophy, and that is really their core business, isn't it?
Indeed. Yeah, like I said during the race, it's a bit like a Ferrari showroom there at garage, because there are so many Ferraris in there. And we have Ian Loggy, along with Julian Westwood and Carl Rosenblad and Ian Machitsky getting their second place trophies, as the winners are now presented to the trophies from Francois Cornelis. The winners of the Gentleman Trophy: Alexander Talkanitsa, Peter Mann, Francisco Guedes and Cedric Mezar. The trophies to the winners are attacked instantly with the champagne. It may be the Gentleman Trophy by name, but not necessarily by behaviour.
And credit where to the Audi team, they're getting second, fighting against the might of AF Corsa and a lot of Porsches as well. Yeah. A really good effort from them.
And Team Parker Racing, Stuart Parker's team, really good at national racing and Carrera Cup, and with millions, it seems, of caterings for customers it runs, but really stepping up to the big time this year and going so strongly in the 24 Hours of Spa. Good effort that, as the Gentleman Trophy podium is full of fun here at the end of 24 hours. So photographs to be taken, and then I think the drivers are going to be whisked away, and we'll get ready for the Pro-Am drivers to make their way out, which again is an AF Corsa top step, isn't it, with the efforts of Andrea Bertolini, yet again taking victory along with Louis Machiels, Marco Ciocci, Nick Homerson. Andrea Bertolini has been an overall winner, but these days in Pro-Am, possibly one could say the benchmark driver. It's hard to think of many who are much better, if at all, than Andrea Bertolini.
One can only assume that they really utilised Andrea early on in the race, and therefore he wasn't able to take that last stint, because with the pressure from Alexandra Sims, you would expect them to have put their top-class driver in. And in fact, Michels is not slow, but Bertolini would have been the choice.
Absolutely right. Yeah, a few years ago, Louis Machiels was excluded from the race because he ignored repeated black flags. He couldn't see them, and the radio link had gone down, so he never got the message. But he, since then, has been twice a Pro-Am champion in the Blancpain Endurance Series. And AF Corsa has got much to celebrate, as a 1 and a 3 as Vincent Endura says in the podium for Gentleman Trophy alone, which ain't half a bad result. But then there's another class win to come, Marto Ferrari's team. And of course it's running cars in championships across Europe just about every weekend, sometimes 2 championships on a given weekend somewhere. So the Gentleman Trophy done. The drivers go to the press conference, of course, next, but we have first of all the Pro-Am drivers to concentrate on, and as soon as the podium is dressed, then the third place crew will be there. And there's a part of me that's very pleased indeed to see that Craig Lowndes is going to be on the podium.
Absolutely, what a great effort from him. He did a double stint at the end of the race. He wasn't expecting to do that when he spoke to us in the morning. He was expecting just a single stint. Didn't get into the car until it was dark on Saturday night, so, and proved himself incredibly fast as well.
Yes, and if anybody had any doubts because of V8 supercars being a bit quirky, well, he adapted pretty well. And so there, the third place drivers, Steve Wyatt, Michele Rugolo, Craig Lowndes and Andrea Piccini. The second place drivers, what a result for Ecuriacos, Andrew Smith, Oliver Bryant, Alistair McCaig and Alexander Sims. And the class winners come to the podium as well. The top step will go to Nick Homerson, Louis Machiels, Andrea Bertolini and Marco Ciocci. It's another class win for AF Corsa, and once again Pro-Am has delivered some fantastic racing as the drivers are on the podium for their national anthem. So for AF Corsa, the Italian national anthem, or a snippet of it, and the trophies now brought to the third place drivers. It's going to be for, of course, AF Corsa, a 1-3 in Gentleman Trophy, a 1-3 in Pro-Am. How about this? And so Steve Wyatt, Michele Rugolo, Craig Lowndes and Andrea Piccini are going to get the trophies. And Paul Mann, the general manager from Total Belgium, is going to be the man with the trophy to hand over. Then Hugo de Silva, Blancpain event manager, steps forward. Suddenly Craig Lowndes has got excess baggage he's got to worry about on the way back to Australia. And the trophies to the class winners are presented by Francois Cornelis, the president of the Royal Automobile Club of Belgium. And as soon as everybody has got the trophies for the winning drivers and winning team, it is, I think, there now, and the winning team get the Blancpain clock from Hugo de Silva. Victory in Pro-Am goes the way of AF Corsa, Nick Homerson, Louis Machiels, Andrea Bertolini and Marco Ciocci. The champagne at the driver's feet, and so the drivers are about to get absolutely soaked once again here. They've been soaked with sweat during the course of the race, and now the champagne goes everywhere. So a busy podium, briskly done by the event organisers, and the drivers in a moment will make their way from the podium off to the press conference, and of course we get ready for the most important podium of the lot, with all due deference to the gentlemen of the Pro-Ams, because the top three teams outright are going to be up there in a moment. And what a race it has been, changing fortunes, and at the end of 24 hours 7.077 seconds is really nothing at all.
Do you remember before the race on Saturday morning we spoke to Baz Linders, and he said 1 second was the difference between a BMW and an Audi thanks to balanced performance? Well, 1 second would have equated to a lot more than 7 seconds at the end of the race. So either he's done a magical job, or maybe there was a little bit of untruth there, but either way his three drivers have really worked for it, haven't they? With that power steering and ABS issue, they really have made that car work.
And look back over the event, you've seen in the highlights, for example, the lap where Dirk Werner was stuck behind Olivier Grutz, and that cost it more than 7 seconds, I would have thought. So, you know, I know it's full of ifs and buts, but had it not been for this, and if only that had happened, it could have been a different story, had the ABS not had its dramas. And, well, anyway, so near but so far. The winning drivers are about to head on to the podium. The Belgian Audi Club Team WRT gets a 1-3 in this class, and so for third place it will be James Nash, Frank Stippler and Christopher Mies. But first of all, there are teams' trophies to be presented, and I think the Audi team can celebrate manufacturer and Coupe de Roi awards as well, the King's Cup. So in a moment the drivers will venture out. But for Audi, with a 1-3-4, a great result indeed. Now we've got some drivers, we've got two, we've got three. Christopher Mies, Frank Stippler, who dwarfs everybody on the podium, and James Nash to finish in third place for Belgian Audi Club Team WRT, make their way onto the podium. Then for second place for Marc VDS Racing, the drivers Lucas Law, Marcus Paltela and Dirk Werner, who get a great reception. The real gallant underdogs of the race come home in second position and deservedly get a great cheer. But as they will go to the second step of the podium, the winners of the 2014 Total 24 Hours of Spa have made their way onto the podium. Marcus Winkelhock, Laurens Vanthoor and René Rast. They go to the top step of the podium. Belgian teams lock out the podium, and Belgian driver Laurens Vanthoor is a proud man on the top step of the podium. Belge, successful in the Total 24 Hours of Spa. Fantastic result for Belgian Audi Club Team WRT. Paul Mann steps forward with the trophies for Frank Stippler, for James Nash in his first year of GT racing, and for Christopher Mies. And that's about all I've written for car number 1, because it's just, as you say, been bulletproof throughout the race. And so
they were going to push it to just one diss and pad stop. They had the comfort to go for 2. Yeah. They were put under pressure by BMW changing the strategy, and which they had to do to create a bit of a show and to see that they were making an effort. But in the end, the pace was there in the Audi that just wasn't in the BMW.
But it could have been such a different story were it not for the ABS. And bearing in mind, I know that René Rast slackened off his pace a bit towards the end, but 7 seconds ahead of a car with gammy ABS and on old tyres. What a story, what a result. So as the drivers, I think, are going to go back onto the podium for the group photograph. There might also need to be, yes, the team rep's got the Blancpain clock. There's quite a few of those, I think, in Team WRT after a very successful campaign in GT racing. And the new trophy that was given to the event by SRO, with all the winners' names on it, now for next year will include those of Laurens Vanthoor, René Rast and Marcus Winkelhock. And that is that massive, really impressive trophy you can see in the middle as the crowd is being revved up here once more. Big cheers all round for the drivers. And a fabulous, fabulous race it has been. And now, as everyone looks back on the race that went down to the wire, it's very hard to think in some ways that we had constant safety cars for a few hours yesterday with those monster accidents, but that thankfully now is but a memory, and we have good news about the condition of the drivers. So it is an event that we can look back on and talk about the good bits, talk about some of the stories, some of the underdogs, and of course drivers can legitimately celebrate their results.
And of course Audi Sport as well, with those victories in the other 2, what they call main 24-hour races. It really does cement Spa as such an important part of motor racing and endurance racing in Europe, and probably internationally around the world as well.
Absolutely, absolutely right. So as the drivers make their way from the podium, it has been yet another enthralling chapter in the history of the Spa 24 Hours. This is the 90th anniversary year, the 66th running of the event, and it is going to be a race that Audi can look back on, as the drivers have done selfies on the podium, and there is the new trophy with all the winners' names. The Blancpain Endurance Series is not done yet, though, because we have the 1,000-kilometre race at the Nürburgring to come in September. But for now, from Spa, from John Watson, Ben Constantiouris and me, David Addison, thanks for your company. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the race. We're off for some frite mayonnaise. Bye-bye.
Merci à tous de nous avoir suivis, de nous avoir aidés, de nous avoir épaulés. On se revoit la prochaine fois. Ce sera pour certains au Grand Prix, pour d'autres aux 24 heures de l'année prochaine. En tout cas, rentrez bien chez vous, faites gaffe sur la route. Ça ne vaut pas la peine de dépasser les limites de vitesse. Si vous voulez le faire, utilisez les pistes qui existent à votre disposition.
Well done. See you at the press. Go there. The media center, and we'll bring you with shuttle.